Snow White with the red hair, or aka Akagami. A series made by Studio Bones coming out this anime season of summer. And, of course, I think all of us realized I would be watching this series because it is a romance series with some form of medieval setting. It's instantly like a watch for me because I've said it many times, I'm a sucker for romance series, anime in general, and when it comes out in a new season, usually I check out the romance series to see how they're done, and that's exactly what I got with Snow White and the red hair. Now, the title of this anime series does not deceive you. There is some similarities to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. If you've ever read that fairy tale, which I think majority of us, unless you were living under a rock or you didn't listen to, those type of fairy tales, everybody's probably heard about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and there's parallels in this first episode to that fairy tale. Now, just because there's parallels doesn't mean that this series is copying Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I want to completely go over that real quick and do the correlations between both of those two different, stories. For one thing, obviously the title, Snow White in the red hair, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. There's no dwarfs to really be seen in the first episode. They are mentioned, actually. The prince mentions that, I'm not as trusting as a dwarf, and that was, only mentioned once around in the middle part of the episode, so dwarfs were mentioned, but there is no dwarfs to be seen so far in this series, so that was a parallel to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and also, two other parallels, you have it to where the main female character, she gets hunted down by the prince, even though the prince was actually supposed to be like a queen of the kingdom, if we remember the original story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. You still have it to where this prince asks, who is the fairest lady in the land? The fairest one in the land. And he comes to find out it's, our main female character with red hair, and in correlation to the title name. And so she gets, tracked down. She wants to run away because she doesn't want to become an object and a personal object to this prince and be owned by someone. She wants to be free. She doesn't want to feel like she is an apple among his gallery of food or, different objects. That's what she doesn't want to feel like. And so she takes the action of running away. And in a sense, I like this. It reminds me a lot, once again, of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, because if we remember, in Snow White, she went to a cottage in the middle of the woods, and she met the dwarfs and stuff, and they're like, hi-ho, hi-ho, oh god, I love that movie. But, anyways, back on topic, it continues to show parallels with the apple scene, and I really like the symbolic nature of the apple in this episode, and it kind of was explained in the later half of the episode, right towards the end it was explained, and it was given out to those that didn't really understand the symbolism, but it was still a really awesome moment to use symbolism in the series, because there was an apple given to our main female character, Shidai. I'm going to call her Shidai for short. She was given an apple, and if we remember the original story of Snow White, when, Snow White ate the apple, she went unconscious and she was in an eternal sleep, and only a true love's first kiss could awaken her. Well, that necessarily does not happen. I'm just going to say, there is apples that are brought up, but these apples are poisoned, and Snow White's apples were poisoned as well, but the poison in this supposedly puts someone unconscious for just a little bit, knocks them out for a little bit, and in the act of this, the prince that wanted, Shidai for himself, decide to poison these apples where he could just drag her back to the castle and then do whatever he wants to her. So, pretty fucked up. But you have it to where the other main love interest, the main male character, he grabs the apple and he eats it and he goes unconscious, which leads into the entire drama ordeal with the ending part of this episode with how she has to go to the prince that wants her and says, give me the antidote, and, she gets saved in the end. We get to see the romance progress with the prince that went unconscious. So, overall, when it came to the setup, premise, and the characters, I'm really liking it. Like I said, I like the parallels to Snow White. It's really cool. And getting back into the symbolism part, though, you have it to where Shidai says that the apple, she's an apple. She symbolizes herself as an apple because she has red hair. She's like, I poisoned you. I poisoned you because I was around you. I was a bad apple. I poisoned you. And because she was around him, and then she caused it to where he got poisoned and, hurt and stuff. And she's like, I poisoned you. And then, she was symbolizing the apple that was poisoned that hurt him. So I like that. I like the symbolism in that. It was really cool. Now, I don't think we're probably going to get much more of that. But I do hope that this series continues to use parallels of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, because it adds a different layer to the series. It really does. Majority of the story of Snow White was actually already covered with this episode. I mean, you have the apples to, the main prince, he woke up in this episode. The person that was hunting after she died, she dealt with that person. And I mean, she was in a cottage. So the only thing we really need to see is dwarfs. So yeah, I mean, overall, though, I do like the setup of the series. It's really good. It was a solid start. I really love it, and it's definitely something I want to look forward to on a Monday. Definitely Monday, I'm looking forward to it because it's going to be Romance Day. And one last thing I want to actually state, I really like the music. I really like the music in this anime series. It sounds really nice. It actually suits the theme and atmosphere of the medieval setting that this series has, and there's not many shoujo romance series that have the best type of music. Some do, some don't, but this series definitely does have a good soundtrack, I noticed when I was watching the episode. And that's about it, and you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.